As a 32-year-old with over $1 million in net worth, I currently have 6 streams of income. And in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how each one works, my plan for growing each income source, and also how I plan to add 2 additional income streams so that by the end of 2026, I have 8 different sources of income. So before I walk you through all 8 streams, I want to start with the one that naturally makes the most sense to talk about since you're watching this video, and that is YouTube AdSense. Now, I am in the personal finance, investing, and business niche. And typically our CPMs tend to be a little bit higher than average because advertisers are willing to pay premium rates to people who are interested in anything to do with money or business. So finance channels can see CPMs anywhere from $20 to $40 depending on the topic of the video and depending on the actual content itself. I've also noticed that anything related to fintech and AI has a high CPM as well. So in order to make $5,000 a month in AdSense, let's say a channel has a $20 CPM, which is the average for personal finance, then I would need about 250,000 monetized views every single month, which is roughly 8,000 to 10,000 views a day across my content library. When it comes to creator income, it really depends on the niche that you pick. If you have always thought about wanting to do a tech channel, maybe you watch a lot of tech unboxings or tech reviews. I watch a lot of tech product reviews myself. You know, that's a niche that I would say is very, very competitive. If you wanted to make videos on iPhone 17 unboxing, in my opinion, that niche has set and sailed. And it's not to say that people can't still enter that niche and do well in it. It's just that the production quality in something like tech review is so high. Unless you have a videography or cinematography background, you know how to make the really aesthetic looking videos with LUTs and color grading and all that stuff, it's going to be really hard to stand out. So if AdSense is the base, then this is where content strategy starts to generate some serious income. So income stream number 2 is sponsorships. And I think that for all creators, one of the most important things or decisions that you can make is whether or not to work with a brand, because a lot of brands are going to approach you. I also think that reputation is really important when it comes to the online space. And I always think about, would this sponsor or would this segment actually make sense for my audience and my brand? And would it make sense to talk about the company? I also think that reputation is really important when it comes to the online space. And, I always think about, would this sponsor or would this segment actually make sense for my audience and my brand? And would it make sense to talk about the company? And obviously I would only ever promote companies whose products that I genuinely believe in and is a company that I believe is operating with integrity and conducts business in good faith and therefore has alignment with what I do and how I like to show up online. Pretty known that finance and business creators can, again, because we're talking about money, command high rates when it comes to sponsorships. YouTube is basically like the new TV. Back in the day, companies would pay network television like ABC or NBC, a lot of money to run commercials so that they could promote their company and their brand on primetime television. But that avenue of advertising is extremely expensive, not to mention that most people no longer subscribe to cable services. And so that's where this opportunity for regular people, if you ever decide to be a creator, to be able to monetize and create an income for yourself off of sponsorships. So as a creator, if I'm able to get 2 to 4 sponsored videos a month, that basically becomes a regular income source for both myself and my business. Next is affiliate income. Now, you've probably heard of affiliate income before. It's a very mass market term. And it's one that people tend to underestimate a lot, but it's also really easy to start. Affiliate income is really simple, and there are so many different variations of affiliate income. This is probably something that you've been a part of yourself. For example, if you've ever signed up for a subscription service and they gave you money for referring a friend that becomes a paying customer, that's basically one variation of affiliate income, where you're using leverage and reach to earn income for yourself. So as a creator, what this means is that I can choose to be affiliated with certain companies on products or software that I genuinely use regularly and enjoy, and I can get a commission when somebody signs up or makes a purchase. So as a creator, one thing I really believe in, similar to sponsorships, is not recommending something just for the sake of recommending something or just because that brand is paying you to. That's really how you lose trust fast. That's really how you lose trust fast. And I personally wouldn't promote anything that I don't genuinely believe has value and makes sense for my audience. As a consumer of content myself and somebody who follows a lot of other influencers and listens to them, I wouldn't want to feel like I'm being pushed a product that they're only pushing because they're trying to make money, not because they actually find the product to be useful or valuable. Sponsorship income is usually on a per video basis, but affiliate income is evergreen, and Once a creator mentions a tool or product in a video, that video can generate you affiliate income for years to come, especially if the video is on an evergreen topic and is SEO ranked. Now, this next income stream, number 4, is one of the most scalable ones. And if I were to start over with a personal brand in 2025 or 2026 now, I guess we're in, that's education based, I would start with this one right away, and that is digital products. Why digital products are a game changer? With content, sponsors, affiliates, even with services, it takes time to realize the income and earn the income. It's high value time, but there's still a ceiling. We all have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and digital products are one way that you can kind of break through that ceiling. So for example, with digital products, if you did fitness, you could offer meal plans or do some sort of pre-recorded challenge and sell either of those products at scale. I still remember the very first time I sold a digital product was many, many years ago, back when my channel was still about keto and weight loss. For those of you guys who've been following me for that long, you guys might remember those days. But it was a really simple meal plan calculator that I had made that was custom for the niche, and I customized it and sold it for 49 bucks. And I consistently made between 3 to 10 sales a day with it. Now, it might not sound like a ton of money, but that's money that you're making while you are literally asleep. No calls, no meetings, no team, no trading hours for money. And that was kind of the moment when I realized why every creator is always talking about selling digital products. The thing with digital products, and Naval Ravikant actually mentions this in his book, I think he said something along the lines of next generation's wealth is going to be built with SaaS and digital products, because the marginal cost of distribution or the marginal cost of replication, either one of those, is basically very, very low, if not zero, because of the ability to distribute with scale and leverage. Now, you do have to put in some work up front to validate the offer and maintain the funnel. So it's not like true passive investing, like buying stock in Coca-Cola, but it's definitely extremely highly scalable. Next is high ticket sales. So this one is where things get really interesting, and it's actually the one that I like the most. And this is something that I just choose to do because I like doing it, and it also is a really good match for my own skill set. I'll be transparent about these numbers. So if you are a good closer on a good offer and you are willing to work hard and pack your calendar with calls, you can hit between $15,000 to $20,000 US a month. As somebody who's studied a lot of sales calls and done a lot of sales calls myself now, I will say that sales is actually a very nuanced skill to master. Very, very nuanced. And not everyone can close, even with the same script. If you have high emotional intelligence and you have the capacity to listen to people and make them feel understood, you're good at connecting with them, and you're good at thinking on the fly when it comes to handling objections, then sales will be a very learnable skill for you. But it's definitely one where you have to go through a steep learning curve. The thing I like about sales is that if you are good at it, you are genuinely helping people make a decision and move closer towards their goal and make changes towards their life. And I personally really like it. I also think that as an income source, it's a really, really good side hustle. For example, back when I was in university, I had to work at coffee shops and restaurants to make side money while I was studying full time. And I once met a mentor who mentioned that if you're good at sales, or if you're good at high ticket sales, let's say, you will have people DMing you every single day offering you a job or asking you to work for them, because every company in this world needs people who can add direct value to their top line. So basically, if you're really good and it's known that you're really good, you will be highly sought after. Now we're getting into the income streams that most people think that you have to be already rich to be able to create for yourself, but that's not necessarily true. So this income stream is dividend income. And I'm personally targeting $500 a month by the end of 2026. So dividend income is really just math. So let's do the quick math together. If you wanted to generate $500 a month in income, or $6,000 a year in dividend, you would need roughly $150,000 to $200,000 invested in dividend paying stocks, assuming a 3 to 4% yield. And if your investing strategy is to go half dividend stocks and half growth stocks, then you would need an overall portfolio of $300,000 to $400,000. Now, I posted a short form video not too long ago where I talked about how I had to sell a big chunk of my investment portfolio in order to buy real estate. Over the next few months and pretty much till the end of the next year, I am going to be taking money that I make from my business and putting it back into the markets. If you guys are interested in watching live investing videos, make sure you leave a comment down below. I might consider starting a series. But the reason why I like dividend stocks overall is that you can take the income from it and you can automatically reinvest more to buy more stocks. So let's say with the $500 a month example, you completely reinvested all of that into buying more stocks without having to do any extra work or any extra research, it basically allows you to add an additional $6,000 a month invested into your portfolio. And you can see how this starts to become an investing flywheel. The very first time I earned any sort of dividend income was after I started working full-time and starting investing for the first time. And I think it was like $10 or even less. When you start making dividend income, it's kind of like a realization that you don't have to do anything for that income other than pressing a button. And money really works for you while you're sleeping. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to trade time from it. You don't have to do anything to earn it. It just shows up in your bank account. It's truly passive. Now, $500 a month is definitely not life-changing money by any means, but it definitely represents something bigger. If you zoom out a little bit and you're willing to exercise patience, dividend income is one of those things that can generate you a lot of wealth in the long term. Next on the list is rental income. This is the income stream that is new. So along with dividend income, this is one of the ones that's going to be new to my portfolio. And so I just purchased a property. We are currently in the process of renovating it and accommodating it for partial rental. But depending on how things go in the next year or two, I actually do plan to add or acquire another property to add to my real estate portfolio. I recently watched a reel from Barbara Cochran, who she's the woman on Shark Tank and she's a really big real estate investor. She talks about how her strategy is in the long term to basically purchase real estate, pull equity out of her existing properties tax-free, refinance as needed, and just keep buying more properties, renting them out, and holding them forever. She's obviously very rich. Rich people give very different advice than your typical middle-class advice of working a 9-to-5 job and eating beans and rice so that you can save money to maybe afford to buy a house one day, not be able to generate any income from it because you're living in it, while working on your second dream, which is to pay off your mortgage in 25 years instead of 30 years. Real estate has always fascinated me because it has so many different wealth building elements, right? You get the cash flow from the rent, you get appreciation over time, you get tax write-offs, and you get to use basically the bank's money and someone else's money to help you build wealth with generally very little risk compared to anything else you can do. So rental income for myself is definitely a long-term play. It's not the fastest to build, and most income that you get from the property is going to be going towards paying off the mortgage, but it is very stable once it's established. I saved the hardest income source for last. And the reason why I say that it's the hardest is because all of the income streams that I mentioned previously, I can basically handle and manage myself to some extent, except for this one. This one here actually requires me to hire a full team, staff, and potentially even bring on partners as well to pool resources, mitigate risk, and share mental load. But it's my business. And for those of you guys who don't know, I own a wealth management and financial advisory firm, and we also do accounting and CFO work as well. On the wealth management and financial advisory side, I work with high earners to help them come up with strategies to reduce their tax liability and come up with investment strategies that make sense for their financial goals. And on the corporate side, we do the full suite traditional financial support for businesses, bookkeeping, tax, budgeting, forecasting, CFO work. It's 100% full service. Now, this is an income stream that I can personally run independent of my own personal brand and what I do on social media. And there are a lot of different directions that I can take this business, which I'm still in the trenches and trying to figure out. The thing that a lot of people miss out when they think about income streams is that they're not separate businesses. They're actually all kind of tied to one another. And sometimes the cash flow from one can feed another. Basically, all the money that I earn as a creator can be used to purchase stocks and real estate and also feed my business if I need my business to grow faster without having to take a salary from the business itself. So I've talked about 8 different things today, but at the end of the day, it's all part of one big flywheel that is accelerating and growing over time. If you guys like this video today, I do plan on making more videos like this where I talk a little bit more about my own personal finance and wealth accumulation journey. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until next time.